Hey guys, welcome back to Unedited Faith. I'm your host, Amanda. And if you watched last week's episode, then you know that I have Angie Chess back with me today. And always excited because she always brings such informative details to the conversation. I guess I'll say it like that. Of course, she just gave me a look like, what? So, but first of all, I want to thank everyone for their support and for listening. I was certainly humbled over the weekend with all the engagement with the podcast and everything like that. So thank you all very much. I hope that you continue to listen and like and share and subscribe. So if you haven't checked out that episode, please go check it out. It's called The Thief on the Cross. So, of course, Angie was there with me for that. So just a little brief introduction on her. Angie is a mom of 8, right?
Yes.
8 beautiful children, entertaining children. So
Entertaining for sure.
very entertaining. I think they need their own reality show.
Yes.
So Justice, if you're listening, which is one of her children, I am more than willing to help you get that going.
I could have been a millionaire.
You could still be a millionaire. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, but certainly, as always, I'm thankful for Angie. So today we're going to be talking about edited versus unedited.
Right.
And I did a little introduction to the podcast several months back and just wanted to kind of reintroduce the podcast and talk about the difference between an edited faith and an unedited faith.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so in August, I surrendered because, I'm stubborn and run from it for a while.
Right.
And actually, I also want to give a little shout out to, Sharon Merica. That's also with the Jesus Loves You Project, which we are both a huge fan of.
Right.
So, she is, I'm just going to call her my niece because she's family. And so we were down there at the beach. They live in North Myrtle Beach. And I was telling her, I feel led to do this. I feel led to do this. And she was like, well, you just need to do it.
Right.
Just step out on faith and do it. And so in August, her little words were just in my mind. And I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Right.
I will do it.
Yeah.
So,
and what do we love to get together and do anyway?
talk.
Yeah.
Talk. So usually I have to edit out like 30 minutes of an episode because we get so lost in the conversation.
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit. But in thinking of a name, I kept coming up with like these cliche names, right? Like Talk Jesus with Amanda and things like that. And so I'm like, I'm going to put that on the table, come back to that. And then I panicked a little bit because we had done recording years ago. Me and Daddy, my mom, we had a little gospel group. We had a recording studio in the house, but that was back in early 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah. So technology has changed quite a bit. And so I panicked and I'm like, oh no, I'm going to have to edit the recordings.
Right.
And it was in that moment of panic that the Lord just spoke to my heart and said, that's the name, Unedited Faith.
Yes.
Yeah. So really like the name.
Yeah. It suits you.
Yes.
It does.
Kind of have no filter anyway in anything in life.
Well, you're going to be honest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. So looking at, and I have some scripture that we're going to read here in just a second, but looking at the term edited, it's where you take things out.
Right.
I think you said one day you make it look pretty.
Right.
Right.
We want to clean it up.
Yes. Yeah. You want to take out the parts that seem too harsh and maybe somebody might get offended,
right.
And, things like that. But when you look at unedited, it is raw, it is real, there's no omission to anything. And looking back on my life, I know when I first got saved, I prayed this prayer, and I'm not going to say don't pray it, but I'm going to say understand when you do pray it, what happens. So, I was saved during that honeymoon phase. I was at home one night and just praying and just worshiping and praising. And I said, Lord, let my life be so that people have no choice but to look at it and see that the blood is real.
Right.
And it's been a whirlwind since that prayer.
Yeah.
I could do a mini series on the miracles, that God's worked throughout my life. But being unedited is important to me because when I thought of that name, I thought about a conversation that I'd had with a lady at a church. I went to a church, I forget now where it was, and the lady was really struggling with some decisions that she had made. And so came my turn to give my testimony, and I shared some really dark things with the women that day that I had been through, like depression and things like that,
Right.
and some other situations that had happened to me in my life that by all accounts the world shames you for,
Right.
especially within the church.
Yeah.
Not blasting the church, but that's just what it is.
Right.
And she asked me a question and she goes, "Are you not ashamed to tell all of that?"
Mm.
And I was like, "No, not at all.
Right.
No, because I want you to see where he brought me from.
Right.
I want people, the purpose of unedited faith is because I want people to know exactly what Jesus Christ has done for me, not just when he saved me, but all throughout my life.
Right.
Because we never know who's going through that same situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And you can't be true
right.
if you edit that and then to take away your testimony.
Mhm.
That's not right.
No,
It's not right.
it's not right. And in doing so, it's like I also want other women to feel empowered to come on and say, "This is exactly what I was going through.
Right.
This is what I was feeling. This is how I felt. And this is how he brought me out of it."
You should be proud of it.
Yeah,
Like, look at me
exactly.
now.
Yeah,
Look what he did.
yeah,
Yeah, be proud of that.
right.
Yeah.
Like I was here and he brought me out of that.
Yeah.
He brought me out of that. Like it's so important. So the scripture that I'm going to be reading from today, I've got two different passages, two different places that we're going to go.
Okay.
So the first one is in Matthew chapter 4, and it's verses 12 through 16. I'm gonna like just explain Jesus. He was given the Sermon on the Mount. And so the one verse that I really want to concentrate on is 14, where it says, "Ye are the light of the world, a city on a hill that cannot be hid," right?
Right.
But before that, he's talking about the salt. You're the salt of the earth.
Right.
And if salt loses its flavor, it's of no value. You throw it out. Like,
Right.
I love to cook. I love to season my food.
We're from the South.
Yes. I don't know where my brother is with that because he don't season anything. So
Mm.
he's a little weird.
Yeah.
He's a little weird. But if the salt's no good or you ever go to get the seasoning and it's all clumped together and it's
Yeah.
just gone bad and it's like you toss it out.
Yep.
And so that's what he was saying. You know,
You're no good.
you're no good.
Mm.
If you're just sitting there, you're no good. Like,
Right.
go be a light for me.
Right.
And then I thought when I was reading it earlier this morning, I thought, well, while we were talking, because her and I talk like
All the time.
all the time, like 20 hours a day, I feel. So, but, you know, as I was studying it out this morning as we were talking, I thought about, you know, where he said a city, how does he say that? Let me see. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. I love skylines. That is like, I love a skyline at night. I'm a country girl at heart, but I also love the city too.
Right.
I've had the opportunity to go to several major cities. And I was thinking about when I would go to Maryland to see my sister. And you get on 81 is such a boring road. That has to be the most boring interstate in the world. But then you get on, I forget what that road is. Forget what it is. But anyway, it's even darker. And so there's no gas stations, maybe one on that stretch of road for like an hour. But then you start getting into like Manassas and places like that, and it is just lit.
Yep.
It's lit up and it's so pretty. I love just seeing those big city lights. And I was thinking about that this morning, and I'm like, that's how it presents. That's how we should be presenting that. It's like you're in darkness. Well, let me show you this beautiful light
Right.
that I'm willing to share with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he goes on to say that let your light shine before, like,
Mm.
let your light shine before men. But when you go over to 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses, I'm going to concentrate on 3. in verse 6, and it's Paul, and he's talking to the church, and he says, "But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost."
Right.
And you look at the world now, and having worked with a very vulnerable population, seeing evil in a way, the evil in the world in a way that was hard for me to comprehend.
Right.
Like, how can this even be happening?
Right.
You see that it is now more than ever, it is important that we share our light in a very humble and a very transparent and direct, I would even say, way, while
Right.
being loving.
Well, you can't share it and edit that
No,
because it's no good.
no,
Um, you have to be true. You have to be honest with people
yeah,
because they need it
yeah.
right now. And, everybody, I feel like, even us, sometimes we feel like we're in the dark,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
because it's just really dark times right now. So, to edit any part of your testimony
yeah,
is wrong.
yeah,
It's just wrong.
right. And I think too, like, if you have like this situation that I've been in, may not be the right testimony to give you for where you're at when I'm
Right,
talking to you, right? I don't want to
right,
hit the highlights,
right.
because I feel like we need different things at different times in our life,
We do.
you know. So you want to give when we're witnessing to people, we want to give them what it is that they need,
Yeah.
what they're going through. So what's your thoughts? You talk a little bit.
Well, I mean, just like I said, we can't edit that. We can't take anything away, and we don't know who we're going to talk to.
Yeah.
But if you stay prayed up and you stay close to him, it'll
Yeah.
be all right because
Yes.
he's going to give you what to say anyway.
Yes.
Right? He's going to help you. Because like we say all the time, he's still out there. He's still out there.
Yeah.
He's still walking these streets and he's in the dark and he's looking.
Yes.
He's looking. So for me to take anything away from some of the dark places that I've been, is to hurt him, and I can't do that
No.
because he deserves praise for what he did.
Everything that he's done.
He
Everything.
he deserves that. He deserves the recognition that a lot of the world don't want to give him.
Right.
He deserves that.
Absolutely.
I mean, look what he did.
Absolutely. As you were saying that, I was thinking, and it's like, I forgot my thought.
Well, just giving him, the
Yeah,
recognition
giving him
for
the
the
record.
things that
Yes.
he does, and then like some people that we talk to sometimes they might look at us because they have before.
Mhm.
I spent some time talking to women, in the jail,
Yes, we have.
and they can look at you and say, "Well, if Jesus can,
If he can fix it for her, he can fix it for me.
But they're sitting there
Yeah.
going, well, one lady one time said, Jesus is going to drop me $40,000 out the sky. Probably not.
We wish he worked like that, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
But he's probably not going to do that.
Yeah.
So sometimes people are hard to talk to.
They are. But I know where I was going with that. We were talking about love.
Yeah.
Because he loves us, he does that, and we're proud of him for that.
Yes.
And it's like, I love him so much.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I just love
And that's
him.
okay to say.
Yeah.
Some
It's
people look
okay
at
to
you like,
say it.
what?
Right. I love Jesus Christ so much.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been so good to me that for me to not be unedited is almost like I feel like I'm smacking him in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, again, parts of my testimony are meant for different times in our lives, as is yours. But, you and I, we did get to do the jail ministry together,
We
which
did.
I think changed our life
It did.
tremendously.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I can say, like with all honesty, you want to be humbled.
Yes.
go in and sit down with somebody that's in jail, that is locked in jail, that can't leave, that can't go outside, that can't get in the car to go down the road to the store, that is told when they can eat,
Right.
when they can take a shower. I mean, you want to be humbled? Go sit
Go to
and talk.
jail.
Yeah, go to the jail.
Yeah.
And I just have to say, I learned a hard lesson. I learned such a hard lesson, and it broke my heart
It will absolutely
because
crush you.
my brother
Yeah.
went in and out of jail several times. And me, before I was saved, me being me, because I'm a stubborn control freak. So it's hard to mesh Jesus into stubborn control freak, right? So and he's been working on that in me for 13
Yes,
years.
he has.
So, but not going to visit my brother.
Yeah.
Not ever going to see my brother. Not ever going to sit down and talk to my brother. And then being saved when I was 40 years old. And then just a couple of years later, getting thrown into the jail ministry, something that I would have never done.
Yeah.
And going home that day and sitting down and that smacking me in my face.
Yeah.
Like, look what you did.
Mm-hmm.
You thought you was so much better. Because I've never been to jail. Thank the Lord. Could have several times, but I was lucky and didn't.
Right.
But you sit down and you think about it, and it's literally like being smacked in the face.
Yeah.
Like, I shunned my brother because I thought he was bad. I thought he was weak, and yet, and it's just so wrong.
Right.
They're lost and they're hurting.
Yeah.
And then I shunned him. It's a terrible lesson to learn.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a lot easier for us just to humble ourselves under the mighty hand of God and just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
Just do it, because if you don't, sometimes it hurts.
Yeah. So the back on the jail ministry, so the church that we were going to, I had got suckered into it by the pastor at the time. Love his bones. Because I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So I was scared to go in because I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Right.
But he wasn't going to have it any other way. And so I went that night. And when that door slammed, it was like, oh. Now I had been to Kingsport City Jail. Daddy also did work for Hawkins County Jail, which is where we did our jail ministry.
Right.
He had done work there. You've heard that door slam before, but in this situation, it sounded different.
Yeah.
It sounded so different. And so the girls came in. Of course, I was like, you know who I am, because it's a small town. I think I might have even had a family member in there at that time, but it's like, you know who I am. You know, I've never been in this kind of trouble before. Like you, I'd had a very close call in my teen years, but teach me to help you.
Yes.
Teach, and they did. And I really have to give those girls that we spoke to that first 3 or 4 years credit.
Yeah.
Because they really taught us how to love them.
They also taught what? How to be unedited.
How to be unedited.
They did.
Right. That's who I learned that.
Because they're not going to lie. They're not going to sugarcoat it. They're not going to fluff it up and make it not pretty. No, they're just going to tell you.
Yeah.
To your face.
Right. And it was so like, I know I couldn't wait to go.
Right.
Like, when do we go back to the jail? When do we go back to the jail? And then, of course, I brought you on. I was like, I'm kind of going to do you like they did me. You're going to do it.
Yep.
And then you kept that, done great things with it. Of course, God led me to Knoxville and things there.
Yeah, then she left me by myself.
Then I left her by herself.
Yes.
And she did a great job. But to sit and hear somebody who is like the bottom, because now they're locked up, they're confined.
Right.
And you want to talk about being in a dark place.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you want to talk about your mind running away with you because you have nothing else to do but time.
Right.
And in jail, the saying is you either do the time or you let the time do you.
Right.
And they are doing everything that they can to do the time.
Right.
And you start to talk to them and you start to hear their stories, and they talk about, well, I endured this as a child. And then this happened to me in my teenage years. And then
Right.
this happened here and that happened there. And it's like, I remember thinking, oh, they are not, they're no different from me at
No,
all.
because so
None.
many similar things happened
Yes.
to you and happened to me.
Yeah.
We could have went
Haywire.
the same way.
Yeah. We
We
could
could have
have,
been sitting there.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not up for us to judge how they coped.
Right.
That's the choice that they made. And I just unedited, of course, I say it all the time. There's been times in my life where I have been so distraught, so upset. I'm not going to tell you that I wouldn't have taken something had it been presented to me just to calm myself down.
Right.
And in my 20s, there was a round with alcohol. Alcohol was the way that I coped with things.
Right.
Of course, that did not work out well for me, and it was
Right.
only because of the hands of God that I didn't end up there with them.
Right.
And sometimes I think I just still might make my way in there, but that's what everybody needs. And I'll say this, if you're out there and you're listening and you have someone who's incarcerated, or maybe you are incarcerated,
Right.
please know that, Angie and I are always advocates
Mm-hmm.
for those that are incarcerated, because you don't know them. You
Right.
don't know what they went through. You don't know the decision that they made to put them there is none of anybody's business.
Right.
What is our business is to get them to the cross
Right.
or to help them find their way back to God. It's just a very beautiful ministry.
He's the only one that can
Right.
come in and help to do anything.
Right.
It's just for us just to be there to listen.
Yeah. And I think that's what having that unedited faith is about, because I
Yeah.
know I had a girl one time, just was still in communication with her. We still communicate with some of them.
Right.
And she was like, you have no idea what it's like to have this happen to you. And I was like, oh, now I see why that happened to me, because I was like, you're right, I don't.
Right.
But what I do know is how it felt when it happened to me.
Right.
And you talk about a door that gets opened
Mm-hmm.
to testify for the Lord Jesus Christ.
Right.
That door swings wide open,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, okay,
That's why it's important
yeah,
to tell the hard
yeah,
stuff. Not everything looks like a little boo-boo. Like
right,
there is some big, messy,
right,
wounds
yeah,
that we had.
yeah,
But he brought us through it. That's why it's so important
yeah.
just to go ahead and tell it.
Just tell it.
Yeah.
Just get it over with. And I think too, with unedited, it's accountability.
Right.
You have to take accountability when you're giving that testimony.
Right.
Long story short, I turned my back on the Lord, walked away from the will of God. I won't even say I got out of church. I just plainly told God, I'm going to take a break.
Mm.
And then eventually said, I'll talk to you when I'm ready to talk to you, which ended horribly.
Yes, it did.
For me. I lost everything.
Yeah.
Lost everything.
Didn't you hear
And
those same
so-
words?
Yes, he did. I
Uh-huh.
found myself in the hospital
Yeah.
I had to have a trach. Of course, my health issues, that's another miracles upon miracles that God's
Right.
worked in my life. But just begging God to talk to me. Just
Yeah.
let me feel your spirit, even just for a second. And just heard the Spirit of the Lord saying, I'll talk to you when I'm ready to talk to you. And that was hard.
Yes.
That was hard.
That had to be terrifying.
It was the most terrifying thing ever. But through all that, now when I meet people, because there were things that I went through during that time that does make me, that gives me the opportunity to relate to others.
Right.
And it's like, it does suck. It's hard. It's hard. And that's what people need to understand, especially with those. It doesn't matter, because I'll say it like this. What I learned was that not only was I no different from them, but I had been bound up just like they were bound up.
Right.
before they ever get to prison, a county jail, anything like that, they're already locked up in chains.
Mm.
Whatever that looks like, they're already bound up.
Yeah.
Satan's already done that. And to have that opportunity to say, okay, yeah, no, I don't know what it's like for you, but I do know what it was like for me.
Right.
Now let me help you.
Yeah.
Let me show you a better way. It's just such a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. People don't really expect to hear that, I feel like, because
No.
sometimes things that you said in there, like you could tell by the looks on their faces. Sometimes some of the things that I said in
Yeah.
there,
Right.
I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah.
catches their attention because we do know. No, we don't have perfect lives.
No, we don't.
Our lives are just as hard. Like you suffer with health issues.
Mhm.
We suffer with lots of things just like everybody else does.
Yeah. Well, and you think too, that gives me another thought because so often you see people, and again, it is not up for me to tell anybody how to give their testimony.
Right.
That is not my decision. But there's times when people put on a facade
Right.
when they're giving their testimony, and it's just smiles and, maybe it's tears and things like that. And what we learned was they see right through that. Whether they're
Yes, they
incarcerated or
do.
not, people see right through that. People know, okay, is this truly a testimony
Right.
or is this the sugar-coated version?
Right.
And a lot of times they'll play into the sugar-coated version
Mm-hmm.
for their own entertainment, just
Yeah.
to be completely honest.
Yeah.
But it hurts, wouldn't you say, more
Yeah.
than it helps?
Yeah.
When it's an edited version of your testimony, I
Yeah.
think it hurts more than it helps.
Well, if you don't give them the whole raw, ugly part,
Yeah,
what are you giving them?
nothing. Your light is hid.
Here's my testimony. Look how pretty it is.
Yeah,
Well, what do you need help with? What Jesus help you do?
right. It's the same old because a lot of times I can't remember. Well, I do remember who it was too, but I'm not going to say her name. She was like, "I've literally heard this 1,000 times in my life."
Right.
Just like that. The same old story over and over. Like, tell me, because what they want to know is what people who are hurting want to know, whether they're sitting in the church, they're on the streets, they're within the walls. What they want to know is, oh, well, that's great that he's the savior of the world and all of this, but what's he going to do for me?
Right.
How's he going to fix it? You're telling me that he can fix it. Tell me how he's going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's you have to get raw.
You do.
Sometimes you have to have those hard talks and say the things that you normally wouldn't get up and say to a room full of Sunday school teachers.
Right.
It's a totally different crowd
Mm-hmm.
when you're dealing with the streets. I'll say it like that,
Right.
which is what I love to do. That's my happy place.
Right. That's your people.
That's my people. That's my happy place. Being in a jail setting, being on the streets, talking to people, that's just what I love to do. Because one thing that I prayed when I got saved, well, no, it was after I got my heart right with God. I went to Laurel Run Park, which is a very popular park here where we live. And I always find God at that park. Like, I cannot wait to go there now that the weather's warming up. And I thought about how I had been made to feel while I was out of church, just kind of wrote off.
Right.
Not going to church like I should. And
You're being bad.
You're being bad.
Yes, you're
not
being
naughty.
bad.
And, you know better because Daddy was a preacher and things like that.
Right.
But I was deeply hurt.
Right.
From religious trauma. I had been through a lot in my teen years, my family had, and I'd never processed that, never navigated it. So I was hurt. And it was like nobody wanted to hear how the church had hurt me.
Right.
Right.
That's a big no-no.
Right. You don't talk about that. But I
Right.
needed to talk about it. And so the fact that that option wasn't there, you just get mad.
Yeah.
Like, anger is a true addiction. Like, you get so addicted to it. But at the park that day, I was walking and I told the Lord, this is what I said. I said with 100% certainty, because my Christian walk had changed from the first time, because
Right.
once you get saved, you're in the honeymoon phase and that lasts for a while, and then you start to have troubles and trials. But when
Mhm.
you get away from God and you get out in the world and you see
Mhm.
what it feels like when he says, okay, I'll turn my face from you for a while,
Right.
it'll change your Christian walk forever when you come back.
Mhm.
I was forever changed. But I said with 100% certainty, this time around, I'm going to fail you.
Right.
There is no, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to act like that I'm going to do everything right. I'm going to fail you. You're going to tell me to do some things, I'm not going to do them,
Right.
or I'm going to hesitate.
Right.
But then there's going to be some things you tell me to do, like you and I so often do. You're going to like, I'm going to feel called to do something, and you're going to have to grab me because I'm
I'm
going.
gonna run.
I'm running.
Yes.
Right? Like, yeah, let's get this done. I'm excited about this. And the second thing I said was, please make a way. Help me to help those that nobody else wants to help,
Right.
because they need hope too. And if I'm out here giving them a pretty clean version of who I am, first of all, that's a whole lie.
Right.
That is not who I am.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that I'm very outspoken
Right.
to a fault sometimes. Been trying to learn to dial that back. Doesn't always work that way, but I'm trying. I'm working on it.
Right.
But if I'm giving them an edited version, I'm lying to their face.
You are.
I'm lying to their face. I'm lying about who he is.
Right.
But if I'm giving them that unedited version, that calls for me to be in the floor with them crying.
Exactly.
That calls for me to be holding them
Yeah.
tightly while they cry, while they're sick, or they're just hurt, or they're mad, or they're angry. That's why an unedited faith is so important, because it just lets you, it kind of demands or commands that you get in the trenches with them. You really get on their level
Right.
and just hold them close. What's your thought on that?
Well, just like talking to anyone, we have to be honest.
Yeah.
That's what I'm just gonna always say. We have to be honest, because if you're not honest and you hide your testimony, like he says, uh, that old song from being a child, like hide it under a bushel.
Oh, this little lot of money.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine.
Yeah.
Well, if we hide it under a bushel, that's not being honest.
No, it's not.
It's not. So
Yeah.
just give them the whole thing.
Give them Jesus.
I mean, they
Yeah.
taught us that.
People need to know that when Jesus Christ died on the cross, when he shed his blood for them, he just wasn't doing that for people who go to church,
No,
for the religious crowd.
no,
He was doing that for them.
everybody.
He was doing it for everybody. So I'm excited to live my life unedited.
Yeah. Well, it's the same as being free.
Yeah. And I think
Who he makes free
is free indeed.
is free indeed.
It's free indeed. And
So we need to be free, and we
Yeah.
we need to feel free. If there was anything that I would say today was just please get to that place where you feel free, and just
Yeah.
be free and be what he's calling you to be.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's such
It
a,
is.
like, because that was one thing that happened to me when I went to Knoxville. That woman that inside of me that he wanted me to be, because I
Yeah.
long prayed for that, was like, let me out, let me out. And at
Yes.
some point down the road, it was like, loose her and let her go.
Yes.
Let her go.
Loose him and let him go.
Just
That's what
let
he
it
said.
go. Just
When Lazarus
yeah.
come from the tomb, loose
Yeah.
him and let him go.
Yeah, Maddie and I were talking about that on her
Yes.
episode, which is going to be airing next week.
Okay.
So that's a popular thing right now. Is like, let him go.
Yeah.
Let him go, let her go, just let it go.
Yeah.
And there's been no looking back, and I have freedom, and you know that.
Right.
And there's so much freedom in my unedited.
Yeah.
And I'm happy, and I'm good, and I'm so blessed, and I'm so excited
Yeah.
for what he's going to do with this podcast.
But it just makes you feel closer.
You do feel closer.
You
It's
do. Because we're not trying to hide anything
right.
anymore. Like don't ever hide anything from him. He knows
Mm.
anyway.
No.
So just get as close as you can. And
Right.
but it just makes you feel so much better.
It does. And accountability, like I was talking about that earlier, like I've learned in my life, if I do something that I know, I'm like, oh, shouldn't have done that.
Yep.
I have learned if you just say, that's on me, I did that. Yep.
Yes.
I done that. And sometimes it's like, yeah, I did that. And sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, it's me, I did that.
Yeah.
You know, it's forgiveness is in a second.
Yeah, it is.
Mercy's in a second. Grace is in a second. And you really do just go and sin no more. Don't do it again.
Right.
Like you told the woman, just go sin no more. Don't do it again. Right. So I encourage everyone to live out your unedited. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid.
Right.
Just try. Just one time, just try to be that woman or that God wants you to be. And ironically enough, sidebar, but not really, there was a lot of men that had listened to the podcast. And so I would say to my brothers in Christ as well, now more than ever, we need men to be unedited.
Absolutely.
Now more than ever, we need you to, tell your truth and speak your truth about what God's brought you from. It is so important, not just for women, but for men as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, as always, for being on this episode with me today. It's been great.
It has.
It has been. Thank you all so much for joining us and listening. You can reach me at Amanda@uneditedfaith.com if you would like to know more about the podcast or know more about me. I am looking to book to come and speak at churches. So if that is something that interests you, please feel free to reach out. Also, I want to thank G&G Media for supporting and sponsoring this podcast today. And next week, we will be talking to Miss Maddie. So stay tuned for that. You're going to want to hear her testimony. Thank you all so much. Again, I hope you have a blessed and safe weekend.